Urban Therapy with Sun 752. This your daily go-getterism number 834 for January 14th, 2017. Tonight I want to talk to y'all about learning disability and learning inability. Alright, we talk about learning disabilities. Learning disabilities are extremely serious because if somebody has a problem with learning things, problems with reading and things like that in their young developmental years, it can really hinder their progress and success as they grow older. Uh, Back in the day, probably before I was born, but even then, there weren't as many ways to identify when a person had learning disabilities, and a lot of people were forced to drop out of class. I mean, drop out of school and had really bad problems getting through school because they had some problems with the learning disability and nobody knew what it was. See, back in the day, they would just say that somebody was slow if they weren't catching on to the material. So a lot of these children were subjected to a lot of embarrassment, ridicule, humiliation. Remember how back in the day, if somebody was called up to the front of the class to read and they couldn't read very well, and people and all of the students that really could read were impatient with these students, so they would be reading slow, or they wouldn't be getting words correctly and things like that, and there will always be some rumblings in the classroom, like every now and then somebody would call out the right word, like dearest. The word is dearest. God, you know, it was bad. And I don't think back in the day people really took an interest or were sensitive to other people's struggles enough to understand what was going on with them. You know, so there wasn't a lot of support. There was support. Like, one thing's for sure, I've never teased anyone in any of my classes for not being up to speed. Shit, there were times when I felt like I had a learning disability that I didn't, but there were times when I felt like maybe I did. You know, you go through things in your life and whatever, even in a young life. And one of the things that's really tough to go through in a young life is when other children around you are doing well and you're not doing well. It can do really bad things to a child's psyche. It can make them start having disciplinary problems. Because think about it, if you're getting teased because of your inability to be able to learn and nobody is being sensitive or sympathetic to your struggle, and you may not even know how to communicate your problems and your struggles to an adult, a teacher that is supposed to be there to assist you. So, you know, one of the things that happens in a situation like that is you may become violent because you don't want to get teased, you don't want to get embarrassed, you don't want to get humiliated. So you have to go to school every day, and you know that you're not learning the material. So you don't want people to tease you. What can happen is you wind up starting to get them before they get you. Like, instead of people teasing me and making me feel stupid in class, what I'm going to do is I'm going to become the bully. I'm going to learn how to fight, and then I'm going to learn how to take the smart kids' money or their food or whatever it is. And I'm not being sympathetic to the bully. But it does seem pretty consistent that many bullies weren't the kids who did very well weren't the children who did very well in school. There's probably a correlation or a connection between those things, and we have to do a better job of that. And I think nowadays we do a better job. You know, we understand autism, we understand ADHD, we understand dyslexia, we understand a whole lot of things that may get in the way of bad eyesight. You know, when the child can't see, he may not even know he can't see. You would think that he does, but he only has his field of vision to draw from, so he may not even know that he can't see as well as other people can see. That's why we have to have people who are on top of those sort of things to test our children regularly to make sure that they're getting the things that they need. Nobody takes an interest in them, and they're definitely not getting it home, because you never know what a child is going through in the home. You never know what a child is going through in the home. And one thing that seems to be pretty consistent is if you have parents that have had a learning disability and they suffered in school, it's going to be hard for them to have a healthy respect and value for the educational system, because that's a place of humiliation, embarrassment, and ridicule for them. So it's going to be hard. I mean, they may transfer that hurt over into their own children and just teach the children how to protect themselves in school physically, instead of being able to teach them to, how to have better social skills and how to improve their academic skills so they won't have a hard time in school. If you're having a good time in school, there's no reason to be violent. There's no reason to be disrupted. Think about it. Stuff is green, but it does wash out because it's organic, baby. But anyway, so that's one of the things that we run into when we start talking about a learning disability. Now, when you start talking about a learning inability, like a person's inability to learn, we're not really talking about a disability, because you could look at a disability as an inability. But no, because a disability you can work around a disability. You just have to find what the problem is, and then you go about solving that problem. When you talk about an inability, a lot of times you're talking about a person who is straight hard-headed. Somebody who is of good intelligence, who just wants to have things their own way. So they don't be learning. Like you teach them stuff, you tell them stuff, you show them things, but they don't want to learn, so they don't learn. They have an inability to learn, so they keep bumping their heads all the time. They keep making the same mistakes. They are habitual offenders. And sometimes they just get on your nerves time and time again. Because they don't want to know nothing. A lot of these cats know too much. They think they know everything. So, they get a lot of simple things messed up, man. And there could be reasons for that, too. They really can. There could be reasons for that. And rebellion goes a long way. When a person starts to be really, really rebellious, and they're not showing any signs of progress, they're not showing any signs of trying to move from one level to the next level, or get from A to at least M, then it's pretty safe to say that they're probably doing that for a reason, maybe known and maybe unknown. But think about it. Why would anybody want to make the same costly mistakes over and over and over again? Sometimes it's a cry for attention. What to go on? But whatever the case is, I believe that anybody has the ability to learn. But think about the times when you've been really angry at somebody that you like, angry at somebody that you love, angry at somebody that you care for. And you may have just taken something away from them that they value. You attacked what they love since they weren't showing any love. And that could be the same way as when people continually act like they don't know something, or can't get something, or grasp onto something, when you know that they probably can. It may have something to do with the relationship that the two of you have together. And you can work that out too. And that's another thing that we have to learn how to do. Just like we have to identify the problems with the child who has a learning disability, we have to identify the problems that we have with each other socially, so that we can fix that learning inability. But we'll be better people for it. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind. And anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours. And remember, when we start talking about disability, we're talking about somebody's struggle or problems relating to their academic success. When we talk about somebody's learning inability, we're talking about somebody who just want to be a hardhead, somebody who thinks they know so much, somebody who's a little bit narcissistic, a little bit selfish, a little bit arrogant, a little bit this, that, and the third, and a little bit of that kitchen sink mixed up in it. But a lot of times it has something to do with us socially, and we can get to the bottom of that if we really try. And we want to do better, right? The Daily Go Get 'Emism show is every single day, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Calling number is 319-527-6199. blogtalkradio.com/Sun752. Peace. Y'all be careful out there tonight. It's cold out there and it's snowing a little bit in my neck of the woods, which is Philadelphia. So, you know what I mean? We want y'all to be healthy, man. Don't play around. Don't play. Speaking of health, colon ring, baby. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.